Okay, hello everybody. My name is Rocco Cilio, and I am the Network and Business Vice President here in the state of New Jersey. And I want to welcome our guests that are tuning in here to take a look through the Legal Shield presentation. And by way of introduction, I'll give you a little bit of background on myself and my experience with Legal Shield. I've actually been with the company now for this will be my 8th year as we turn into 2017. And I come out of the world of traditional small business ownership. I really believed in entrepreneurship as being the way to go from a career standpoint since a young age. And I found myself in several different businesses over the course of my professional career. Never really broke through for where I wanted to be at. I achieved some significant levels of financial success, at least in my own eyes, but never really got to a point where the business was working without me being involved. And so that was a pain point for me. When Legal Shield came into my world, I realized there was an opportunity there that was unique. And this is what we call an untraditional business, at least from my point of view, because we can actually have all the rewards of a traditional business without all the headaches that come along with that. And I'll get into that as we go through the material here. But as by way of the guests that are joining and taking a look at this information here for the first time, I'm very aware that we have people from all different walks of life that are attending this presentation. Many of you might be in a situation now where you need to make a change, whether it's at maybe with a current employer that has you accountable to a certain time schedule that does no longer work for you, or has you on a certain pay rate that you feel like that you're certainly worth more than that, and you're just confined to what they set the rules for that no longer is going to fit into your world. Other folks, maybe you are just anticipating a new opportunity, a change of pace from a replacement of an income standpoint, it's just on a part-time basis. Other folks that come into our business, maybe you already have traditional business experience and you're trying to evaluate if this might be a good option for you to be able to expand upon that as well. So just want you to know that there is no one size shoe fits all scenario with this business opportunity. And I think that matters because we're not trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. There are example after example of folks that participate just for a few extra $100 every single month. And then we have folks that have replaced a full-time income and made a big business and career with Legal Shield over the years and everything in between. So as we go through the material here today, I'm just going to ask everybody to keep an open mind. You're about to see some information that we think could be a game changer for you. And we definitely know that we've already been a game changer on the state of the current economy for so many others. And as you look at the future of business, one of the things that we know for sure in the new economy, things are going to have to change. They've already begun to change in an extremely high rate. And so we feel like that we sit right at the turning point now of being able to get a much needed service into the hands of so many out there who need it. But the businesses of the future, they certainly need to simplify their process. And I think there are so many of us in today's marketplace now that we demand simplification. As a matter of fact, industries that have not been able to evolve and make their services more simple to be available, more simple to use, those companies have gone by the wayside. And basically in today's world, if we find something that is cumbersome or can be stressful and we avoid using it unless we have to, inevitably something else is going to come along and disrupt that current business model and change the game there. So the second thing is that when a business is disruptive, it should also be disruptive by way of price. Being able to make something affordable when there's a need is a great way to be able to explode a business. The third thing is a company should be a noble company. And what I mean by that, their cause has to be strong. They need to be able to be an organization that leaves it better than they found it. And so we think of all the four characteristics here of businesses of the future. We certainly are strong in all four. But we want to think that probably number three is our strongest. And then the last part, we really believe from a standpoint of a model that can't be duplicated is the best way to go. And so we feel like that we're pretty strong there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in with that as our premise. And what we want to start out by doing is just, have a quick conversation about the background of our company. We're a 45-year-old company with a brand new opportunity. You can see we've been around since 1972. already work with over 4 million folks who subscribe to our legal services and identity theft protection program. Um, right now, we're in 49 states, 4 provinces in Canada. We will be making our way into Alaska soon, but for right now, that's the only state where our services are not offered in. Our company has a vision. That's to provide equal access to the liberty, equality, opportunity, and justice that every North American deserves and expects. And when I went back to, when I go back to the previous slide there, when we talked about that our company had a noble cause. Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not sure that you can find too many businesses or opportunities out there that can put a vision out there that can equal or match the strength of what our vision is. And we live this every day at Legal Shield by backing it up with a mission, and that's to help people improve their lives by teaching life-transforming skills and to deliver exceptional products and services to promote peace of mind and confidence in a world that is oftentimes uncaring and selfish. And you see, having a mission and vision that is strong as what we have here at Legal Shield really puts yourself out there. And we live in an age of transparency where you can go to social media and you can sniff out an insincere player pretty quickly. But if you have a noble cause and people can recognize that, people will want to look at what you're doing based on why you're doing it, not necessarily what you do. And so we think that we're in a very good position as a business of the future. But let's take a look a little bit closer at our company. You know, it's one thing for me to be able to say nice things about us, but you can check our credentials. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can read some of the reviews on Facebook where they have us rated fairly highly, and also with Consumer Affairs. And I probably put the most stock and faith and credibility in what Consumer Affairs has to say about us than any other organization, because it is 100% completely consumer driven. And you don't get that highly rated unless you have folks that are users of your service contact Consumer Affairs, letting them know that they would recommend our services to their friends and family, and they've had good experiences talking with our attorneys, our identity theft advisors, as well as our customer service folks. So to me, that's the true test of the credibility of a company or an organization. Now, I want to talk about business here for just a minute or two, and our old friend Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, from Apple. When he talked about the future of business, he said, you can't connect the dots of business by looking forward, but you can by looking back. And so, again, we live in an age now where if a product or service that from time to time we'll have to use and need, if it can't be made convenient and inexpensive, it will fall by the wayside. So digital disruptors have come along and changed the game. And I first want to, as I bring up a couple of these icons here, I want to first mention to you that the world of digital photography has now grown into an $11 billion a year industry. And there you see the app logo for Instagram. Well, before Instagram, 5 years prior to Instagram, a company by the name of Kodak went out of business. And the story of Kodak is really this: they were the 10,000-pound gorilla for years in that industry. As a matter of fact, the inventor of digital photography actually worked for Kodak. And when he took it to the company as something that they should get behind by way of the future, the company was just making too much money developing film, and they didn't want to kill their own profit margin by shifting their business model. They were not interested in being disrupted. And again, 5 years from the launch of if you keep going back 5 years from the launch of Instagram, Kodak went out of business. Now, in addition to that, the taxi cab industry, we've all seen how that has changed. The global taxi industry is worth $22 billion in revenue. And here in the United States, with the emergence of Uber, as you can see here, the way that we view using the taxi industry has completely changed. We no longer have to have that what we would certainly call a not so simple process of having to call a taxi cab company, give them directions to where we're at, deal with paying the cab driver directly. And now with our phones, we have a GPS that is actually built right into the Uber app. We pay right through them. They find exactly where we're going. And again, their price model somewhat disruptive to the taxi cab industry, not just from an end user of the service, but also just to be in that business in general, the licensing that people have to go through, and being able to carve out territories and that sort of thing. So Uber changed the game with all of that because people, the market demanded a change, right? As we look a little bit further, you now see a logo here for a company called Airbnb, which happens to be the largest travel accommodations company in the world, although they don't own a single hotel. The hotel industry is a $165 billion a year industry. Airbnb is now currently booking more overnight stays than the largest hotel chains in the world. And this is all done from the push of a button on a mobile app. They've taken the traditional hotel stay out of the equation, and now folks can turn their homes and apartments into hotels and set the margin there. And again, this process was just created out of a demand in the marketplace, more convenient and easy for people to get access to. We'll look at a couple others. How about Amazon.com? One of the largest retail shopping venues that's out there. We no longer have to get in our cars and drive to the store and deal with the parking lots, deal with the clutter in the aisles, deal with the checkout lines and everything else that comes along with it. We can now do this all right from the push of a button on the remote control of our life, which is our smartphones. And so Apple has certainly changed the game from that capacity. Now with the delivery of drones that we can get our products and services sent right to us shortly thereafter. It's just amazing where we're going. And one of the last things that we'll look at is the company Netflix as compared to the television industry. The television industry, broadcasting, is $135 billion a year that they do in revenue. And so if you can think back to the days of prior to Netflix, there was a company out there called Blockbuster, for example. And Blockbuster gave us the opportunity to enjoy their entertainment by showing up to their retail locations, renting the DVDs of different movies that they would have as soon as they could get them from the movie theaters on the new release on DVD. And we'd have the good fortune of being able to rent them for what would be, I guess, in Blockbuster's mind, a fairly inexpensive cost. And they thought they had a great business model. But there was certainly the market desired more than that. Oftentimes we'd show up to Blockbuster and we'd find that the movie that we wanted wasn't in stock. Sometimes we'd bring the movie home that we wanted and find out that it was scratched and, would skip all over the place, and we would waste our time driving out to the store and back and forth. And it was just something that we weren't going to stick with, and the market demanded more, and along came Netflix and changed that entire industry. Now we access movies. We can actually have hundreds and thousands of movies at our fingertips for a fraction of the cost what it used to take us to go to Blockbuster and use that process that was certainly cumbersome. So these are just some examples of digital disruptors. Now, I want to talk to you about our company, and I mentioned to you the market share. Well, what does the $22 billion taxi industry have to do with Legal Shield? What does the $11 billion photo industry have to do with Legal Shield and all these other brands and industries that you see up here? Well, the legal industry is a $300 billion a year industry. It dwarfs any of these other industries. And it's been very inaccessible, very cumbersome, very overpriced. In this country for a long time, it's been flat out broken. So there is no doubt that the market is demanding a change. And we are that 45-year-old company with a brand new opportunity that is doing so. Welcome to Legal Shield and our new digital disrupting mobile apps for Legal Shield and ID Shield, which is our sister brand identity theft protection service. You see, we've now taken the power of our law firms and putting them in the palm of the hands of the members who need them the most. As well as our identity theft protection product, these two mobile apps are disrupting two of the largest industries out there, giving people access to services that they need and they can afford and didn't know that they could even have until we came along and introduced them. So let's talk about what our Legal Shield app does first. Our members can access their law firm, a provider law firm, with the push of a button. And you can see there, if they need to call into their law firm, there's a series of different things that they'll be able to call in with, ranging from legal advice to document review, letters and phone calls made and written on their behalf if they encounter a legal dispute, IRS audit assistance, civil trial defense services, as well as domestic services that are included after 90 days. People sometimes will say, well, I just don't need an attorney. I don't use a lawyer on a regular basis. I don't understand why I would download and subscribe to an app now that might make it convenient for me to get access to, but why would I need them? Look, here's the thing. The reason why it's a $300 billion a year industry is because on average, about 96 million court filings happen each year in this country compared to about 35 million hospital admittances. And listen, before there was health insurance, people only went to the doctor when they absolutely had to. Now we demand health insurance, and we know the cost. It's very expensive. But legal services, we need 3 times are likely to deal with a legal issue than we are a medical condition. And these services that I'm introducing here cost a family a little more than $1 a day to get access to for something they're 3 times as likely to need. So it's not just about buying a service in case you need it. Most people only think of legal situations as emergency scenarios, right? But the reality is that it's not meant that way. We should be able to use legal services out of convenience as well. Right now, our law firms receive over 40,000 phone calls a week nationwide. And when you take costs out of the equation, people will call on with everything you could possibly think of as it pertains to them making better decisions in their lives, understanding what their rights are, and just being able to navigate stress-free on a daily basis. So we want our members to call as often as they need to. And often folks will run into situations where our law firms will determine, you know what, you are being taken advantage of or treated unfairly. And in those scenarios, our law firms will jump in and make threatening phone calls on behalf of our members, or oftentimes what we found to be much more effective, write some kind of a threatening letter on our law firm's letterhead to whoever that third party is, whether it be a business or an individual, letting them know that our members' rights have they been advised on, and they'll pursue whatever recourse is available if the situation is not resolved. And so best thing we can do is put a real life example to help put things in context for you. I had a colleague of mine who purchased a big screen television from Costco a few years ago, spent $2,000 on the television, brought it home a couple of days later, part in the back of the television burns out, brings it back to Costco and asks for help. Costco says, we don't carry the television anymore. We don't make it. You're gonna have to call the manufacturer who made the television. Happened to be Sony, a small company that we all are very aware of. My colleague called into Sony, was told that Costco don't carry it anymore because Sony doesn't make it anymore either. And so there's really nothing that they could do for him. It's outdated, and he wasn't getting anywhere. Was able to call into his provider law firm. They asked for proof of purchase that he did buy that television and what he spent on it. And then they drafted up a threatening letter that went out to the law firm, or that went out to Sony on behalf of the law firm. Instead of going to the complaint department, it went to the legal department, who responded much differently, gave him the ability to now get a resolution. Sony called back and negotiated a refund of about $1,700. They took a few hundred off for depreciation. But you get the point. Those are the types of things that when you have a law firm in your corner, you can actually, you don't always need to get a full win, but be able to get some kind of resolution to your satisfaction is a good way to go. And so maybe it wasn't the television for you, but all kinds of other situations that we deal with, whether it be overpaying or being untreated unfairly. There's just a number of different things where being able to just press a button on your phone and get connected to your law firm just makes sense to be able to help you get resolution, like an insurance company that doesn't pay a bill, or contractor ruined your house, something of that nature. So the other thing that you have the ability to do is, once you're connected in with your law firm, is take advantage of having your contracts and documents reviewed, not just things that you're going to sign, maybe things that you've even signed in the past. Big ticket items, little ticket items. Thus, we know that attorneys prepare everything you put your name on. So having your attorney review information on your behalf could save you a lot of time, money, and hassle. And God forbid you wind up being audited by the IRS. We'll give you 50 hours a year with a professional tax attorney. Get connected to your law firm right away if that situation arises, and figure out what you need to do. And then also included is the ability to have trial defense hours already paid for when you're subscribed to this service. God forbid you're named in a civil lawsuit. Somebody says you owe them money or something of that nature. Just by having access and subscribe to this service, you already have in your first year of coverage 60 hours of pretrial and trial defense time. In addition to that, after being a member for 90 days, we provide domestic services, uncontested in nature, whether it's divorce, name change, separation, annulment agreement, adoption. Some of those events are unfortunate. Others are very fortunate. But just being able to have a simple, convenient way to be able to access help in those scenarios and be able to get that stuff taken care of is something that the market demands, and it's brought to you here through Legal Shield. So in addition to that, we have what we call our Snap feature on this mobile app. And I just want to be able to share my own personal testimony here real quick. I've had the good fortune of being able to use this benefit just last month. I was actually pulled over locally in the town that I live in after making what I didn't know was an illegal left-hand turn. I had my excuse. The officer didn't really want to hear me, and he just handed me my ticket and walked away. Now, this turned out to be a 3-point ticket. My heart dropped as he was walking away. I was able to pull out my Legal Shield mobile app, open up the Snap feature, and use the camera on my phone to take a picture of the ticket, where it uploaded it right to my provider law firm. Shortly thereafter, I was contacted by my provider attorney, who let me know some of the discovery work that they were going to get started with. Told me best case, worst case scenario in situations like this, and basically said, I'll see you in court. A couple weeks later, I got to the courthouse a few minutes early. My attorney was there waiting for me. She went right up in front of the line there in municipal court of everybody that was waiting to talk to the prosecutor. Had a short conversation with the prosecutor, came back over my way and said, look, when the judge comes out, he's going to call you up first. And here's what we got it down to. It's going to be 0 points. You just agree to whatever he says and you'll be out of here. So judge came out, all rise, called me up to the bench, said whatever, asked me if I committed whatever act he said I did. I agreed, and I was out of there with an $80 court fine and no points. And so having access to this is a big deal. Being able to know that everybody in the family who's on the road can take advantage of this benefit could save money, a lot of money in potential insurance premiums. We don't promise to fix tickets, things of that nature. But we certainly, for the basic moving violations, we want to be able to provide the assistance that we know our members will need, and it's 100% covered after just a 15-day hold, so no speeding for the first 2 weeks there of being a member of Legal Shield. In addition to that, we want to make it easy and accessible, again, what the market demands, for folks to be able to take care of their estate planning. When you are subscribed to Legal Shield, you can press the mobile app button there to prepare your will, fill out a clear and concise questionnaire form that lets your provider law firm know about you. It's sort of your Dun & Bradstreet. And 80% of the American adult population doesn't have a will prepared, but 100% of us do need one. It doesn't matter how old you are, large or small your family is, or how much money you have. Estate planning matters. If you're without your healthcare power of attorney and you became incapacitated, the state you live in can make your medical decisions for you because you haven't done it in advance. God forbid, parents become deceased without a will or directive and they have minor children. Those minor children can become wards of the state automatically because they have not taken care of preparing that will ahead of time and the directive. So in our services, this is complimentary. Our law firms will prepare the will, the living will, and the healthcare power of attorney for the member and the member's spouse, and they don't pay anything in additional to their normal monthly subscription to Legal Shield. And that's important because this is a part of that disruptive price model as well. So it's not just convenience and access, right? It's one thing to be able to provide this more conveniently and more simple to get taken care of than have to go through the old guard model of going and going through hiring a traditional law firm and kind of being on their schedule to get all this work done that could take time away from your day. But then in addition to that, the normal cost, if you went into an estate planning law firm in the town that you lived in now and asked them to do these same documents that we prepare really at no charge aside from the monthly subscription, you probably wouldn't be able to show a bill for less than $1,000 or so for an entire family. We take the financial excuse out of the equation. And when we get into our opportunity here in a few minutes, I want you to know that from my perspective, it became a responsibility at this point to share this information with everybody I knew, whether I was getting paid for it or not. And that's how I knew I had a real business here waiting for me. So we'll get a little bit more into that when we discuss the opportunity. But one more thing we want to be able to show you on our app. Now you can see that we have that red button down at the bottom, which is 24/7 emergency access to an attorney. God forbid one of our members are in an accident, they're arrested, questioned, detained, child services looks to remove children from their home or something of that nature. Our members can pull out their mobile app and just within minutes get connected with an attorney that can give them the best possible advice for that scenario. In our Miranda rights, we have the right to remain silent, but we also have the right to an attorney. And with Legal Shield, we now give that right to everybody and make it affordable. You see, how many people can access that right that we know right now? And this is not just a mobile app that goes on the primary member's phone. It goes on everybody in the family who's covered. So let's look a little bit further. In addition to that, there'll be some things that pop up once in a while that are just really complicated scenarios that a subscription of $20 a month is not going to give full coverage for. Maybe it's a pre-existing scenario of a complicated legal matter or a class action lawsuit or a criminal mischief scenario. And in those scenarios, we still give at least a 25% member discount off our firm's normal hourly rates for members that are experiencing those type of issues. Now, it is important to know that of the 40,000 phone calls a week that we get right now, 93% of them are resolved under that $20 subscription for just the legal plan, and also folks that are subscribed to our ID Shield service as well. So only about 7% of the time do people fall into a situation where they'll need to access that. And so the entire family is covered, dependents up to 26. And then also for those that are legal guardians of those up to age of 18, we'll cover those family members as well. And as any physically or mentally disabled children that are living at home are covered for the life of the membership. And we feel that's important. And when we, again, going back to the noble cause of Legal Shield, of being one of the strongest of all of our character traits, that's something that we certainly can lean on there as more evidence. So we already say that everybody in North America has a legal plan. You either wait for something to come up and spend $250 an hour or more than that, or you could have access to our service, download a mobile app, and subscribe to an army of some of the most highly qualified lawyers and law firms in the country for $20 a month right in the palm of your hand. So if you want to talk about something that's simple, that's disruptive, and noble, and not easy to duplicate, welcome to Legal Shield. You can also see that we've been endorsed by some of the brightest legal minds and attorney generals in the country. As a matter of fact, we've been endorsed by the entire Attorney General Association, endorsing our services as a need in the marketplace to level the playing field for those who need access the most. I want to shift gears briefly to talk about our ID Shield service. And as many of you already know, identity theft is the largest white-collar crime in the history of North America. Every 2 seconds, somebody new is a victim. And the reality is, in today's world, there is a ton of awareness out there, but not a lot of education. So we created a brand we call ID Shield to be able to deal with the ever-growing problem of identity theft. And again, our goal is not to just be able to create a service that might be a solution, that we know actually is a real solution, but we also know that we need to make it simple for those that need to get access to it, that they can use. And identity theft encompasses all sorts of different areas. It's not just about credit card fraud. These days, the thieves are more interested in your medical records and your social security number than they are your bank account. It's more valuable for them. It's been said that sometimes we've heard folks say, well, if we get confused, we think that people want to steal our identity to get access to our money and our assets, but that's not really the case. What they want to do is use our identity to be able to steal other people's money and get a hold of other people's information that they can use even more frivolously and fraudulently. So the reality is that we need to have identity theft protection, just like we have smoke detectors in our homes. As a matter of fact, we're a few hundred times more likely to have our identity stolen than we are to have our homes burned down on us. So it's one thing to have an identity theft protection product. It's another one to have the best service. It's another thing to have the best service at the best price. But then now with our ID Shield mobile app, to be able to make it simple to understand what you have access to and easy to use is just as important. And that's the future of where we're heading. So we do privacy and security monitoring of right now more than 1 million lives. When you're subscribed, you get access to credit score updates. There's constant alerts. Your entire public persona is monitored, not just your financial profile on your credit report alone. And then there's push notifications that are made available to you when you do have alerts, and you need to be able to review information to verify, to make sure that information that's going on that you're aware of, and there's not something happening that shouldn't be happening with your identity right in the moment. So the monitored information that you'll be able to do is add, say if you wanted to have a new credit card that you got added to your monitoring, you can actually take a photo of it and have it uploaded right there from the mobile app to have all that information taken care of for you. In addition to that, there's unlimited consultation that can be handled. There's actually right now more than 200,000 personal identity consultations handled by our partners in ID Shield, along with an ongoing review of case and call history. So these services come together through ID Shield. It's our sister brand, but we have a partnership with Kroll Advisory Solutions. They're the largest private investigating and forensic accounting firm in the world. And the strength of their private investigators, along with our technology and our distribution model, makes this service accessible and affordable to everybody in North America. As a matter of fact, we provide 24/7 emergency access there as well. So our team with Kroll will do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, to get your information restored back to where it was before the theft occurred. We put a $5 million service guarantee behind our work. Identity theft is not just fraud protection. It's not just monitoring your financial profile. It's getting your information restored back to where it was before the theft occurred. That's the part that everybody leaves out. And the reality is this: the Federal Trade Commission says it'll take 15 40-hour work weeks of your own time to restore your information if you happen to be a victim. Nobody has that kind of time, and if you do, you don't want to spend it for sure trying to prove that you're innocent, right? This is a potential crime that you're guilty until you could prove that you're innocent. So when you combine both of our services together, a family can access both Legal Shield and ID Shield for $40 a month. There's individual pricing, which is a little bit cheaper for somebody who doesn't have a family. But access here, services can be purchased a la carte. I tell you that the majority of the time people see exactly what we're doing, and the value and the protection there is well worth the money spent. In addition to that, though, we have our Member Perks program, which makes it almost free for members to be able to access our services as our membership continues to grow. As we continue to get larger month after month, more companies and brands are recognizing the value of our growing client base and want to be able to get access to them by offering discounts. So when you are subscribed to either Legal Shield or ID Shield, you are also eligible to be part of our Perks program, which represents now over 500 brands, places that you're already spending money on, whether it's dining, shopping, travel, entertainment. You'll be able to save money on a monthly basis on things like your cell phone bill, possibly your cable television bill, movie tickets, you name it. Most likely you'll be able to get a savings through the Perks program on areas that we're already spending significantly on, which will more than pay for the cost of the services. Okay, so that's how you create a superior product. Now let's switch over to marketing and our business and what this opportunity could look like for you. And I want to say, the opportunity is not always going to be for everybody, but the membership certainly is. If everything that I just shared is real, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to be a member of these services. So we'll tell you to make sure you take care of that either way. But from the opportunity standpoint, let's dive in a little bit closer here and see what having a business like this could mean for yourself. And as I mentioned before, I was looking for something different. I had watched myself be able to build up to a certain point just to be knocked back down a couple notches in traditional business. And I got hurt financially, and I swore to myself in getting involved with the next thing that I did for myself from a career standpoint is it had to have a couple things that was a requirement. Number one, I needed to be in control. I didn't want to be in a position where somebody else was going to determine my fate for me. Number two, I needed to have something that was going to pay me for both the short term and the long term. And what I meant by that is that there had to be some form of a residual component to it. Number three, and it had to be something that I certainly could feel good putting my name behind and representing. And as I mentioned right at the beginning of the presentation, I couldn't think of a more noble cause than just what our vision with Legal Shield is alone. What I needed to know is that this company was real. The first time it was introduced to me, somebody gave me a brochure, said you could call an attorney as often as you need to for $20 a month. I was in at hello. I just needed to know that it was real. So I became a member first. Remember the attorney called me back, answered a couple questions for me, and I felt like either they just went through a whole lot of trouble to pull one over on me, or I've got something here that would make sense. And so I started to investigate the business model, and I even got more excited because I realized I didn't have to go through the process again of forming a new business entity. I didn't have to go out and spend a few $100s out of the gate on a limited liability company or an S corp. I didn't have to go through the process of filing for business tax returns and things of that nature. I'd spent small fortunes to put myself in business in the past. Well, here we get the opportunity just to create an account with Legal Shield and become a sole proprietor with them for just $99 one time. And that allowed me to be vested on a book of business that I could generate with that company. In addition to that, they offered business services that allowed me to not have to build the infrastructure from the ground up, a package that they knew would be available to people that were serious about building their business. And they put those tools in place, which was only $20 a month. So I knew that if I was going to be able to grow this business the way that I wanted it to, I was going to be able to lean on something, or I was going to have to build it myself. And being able to remove all that foundation building out of the equation and just lean on that $26 million building in Oklahoma, along with this package that they've been able to get to me for just $20 a month to help me run my business, I was in. In addition to that, once you get started and create your account with us, they're going to let you test drive Legal Shield Advantage. And you can see everything that you have access to, professional websites that are personalized for you, brochures, fact sheets, all sorts of videos. In addition to that, they've made a huge investment to allow us to grow personally and as business people by their relationship with Franklin Covey. They've loaded in there courses that can train you on a daily basis how to get better at what we do each day in our business lives and our personal lives. The information courses on the 7 habits of highly effective people, the 4 disciplines of execution. These are time-tested business principles and philosophies that have helped so many organizations and individuals grow and expand who they were. And so we have that available here with Legal Shield. There's also an incredible amount of contests and promotions and incentives that are offered when you're subscribed to the Legal Shield Advantage program. And our marketing tool that's going to be able to allow you to do this business from anywhere at any time is a tool we call Prospect by Legal Shield. So let's take a closer look at what this disrupting mobile app has done for us on the marketing side. Before I go too much into the details of how this works, I've showed this service to some people that I know on a pretty close level, and I've talked to them about the experience of the company being around, and I've often heard them say, this is something that we just got to get on television. We've got to get television commercials going so everybody can see what this service is. And my response to them is that maybe if it was 20 years ago, that would have been the way that we go. Right, but that's not how marketing happens these days. If you go back to some of those mobile disruptors that we talked about in the very beginning of the presentation, well, let's take one of the most popular ones out there. Let's take Facebook, for example. I'm sure everybody that's on here right now has a Facebook account, and I'm asking you, where did you hear about Facebook? Did you see it on a commercial and then go and decide and download it, or did somebody share it with you? Right, and you see, think about all these platforms now, how they are, how that information is dispersed to us, distributed to us. It's not done through television commercials. That's not the way of the future for business, and that's something that you need to understand moving forward with us. Let's take a look at what Uber did. Uber expanded on the idea of Facebook just having a good platform and hoping people would like it so much they'd share it with other people. Uber said, we're going to do the same thing, but we're also going to incentivize people to be able to share that information. So what Uber did is they started providing credits for free rides for you to be able to share a code with other people. And the person you shared it with got a free ride when they used their service for the first time, and you got a free ride from being the referrer. Well, what Legal Shield has done in the brilliance of our business model is they've actually given us ownership interest in a business. And they are not only willing to pay us in form of direct deposits and cash, being able to share this message, but we also own a piece of the ongoing residual business, right? And this is something that we need to take seriously and understand, because this is not a commission-based sales job. That's not what this is about. This is about giving you ownership interest in something that can pay you and your family for years to come. Now, going back to the marketing piece here, what Prospect by Legal Shield is, it's a tool that really helps us run our business right from the palm of our hand. And as we want to spread the message about Legal Shield and get information pushed out into the marketplace, we can take a list of video resources and email campaigns that can then be distributed out to contacts that would be interested in learning more about Legal Shield services, distributing information on our business opportunity. And all that information is linked back to our websites for people to be able to subscribe and download and get access. And the ability to also be able to track the progress of the campaigns that we're pushing out into the marketplace. We don't have the time now to be able to go into all the details and everything that Prospect by Legal Shield does, but I want you to know it's a very simple tool that we can teach anybody how to use. And being able to take all the marketing out of the equation and follow a simple process is how you can really jumpstart your business in a much more simple way that can make things go much faster for you as well. So there's and within Prospect by Legal Shield, there's also a rewards campaign, and we have fun with it. You know, it's the ability to hold yourself accountable, train your team how to be able to get information out there and track how many contacts are viewing information, and giving you the analytics that you need to be able to determine what your ratios and conversion rates are, all that stuff. And we turn it into something fun through contests. Now, we've grown into a $500 million a year company by traditional and social avenues, and those avenues will never go away, but we certainly live in a digital world now. Now, we're not going to fix things that aren't broken, but we're going to take advantage of technology. We are not a technology-based company, but we are technology accelerators. And so there are more people today who watch videos on their smartphones than will ever watch television commercials. But we also understand the human element being involved as well. So we use the traditional and social aspect and marry it up to the digital aspect. It's taking what we would say in our business, we'll often say that we marry up high tech with high touch. And that's being personable with people and using a third-party system that is really designed to get you out of the way and let the company's information do all the work for us. So from the compensation side of things, our business grows as we grow. And there's three ways that we're compensated for the work that we do. It's when we have personal production, when somebody subscribes to our services directly through us. And then we can build as well. In addition to that, if you choose to get involved in our team building concepts, you have the ability to build distribution points and can earn overrides from other folks that follow the opportunity as well. And then we already talked about the residual income, but we'll get into some of those specifics as we break down each one of these three ways. Now, understand this. There is plenty of money to be made in our compensation plan just by marketing the membership. Some folks consider our team building concept like, I don't want to get involved with people. It's like adult babysitting. I just want to go out there and share the services and not worry about all that. And there's a significant opportunity just to do that. As you can see here, each time you introduce a family who subscribes to our services, you will earn $100. And that's proportioned for an entire year. So each month that the customer would pay their $40, your portion of that would be broken off and paid to you. Now, what we have is an accelerator program that will allow you to get paid that $100 all up front in the first year. You don't have to wait monthly. And how you do that is you take our Fast Start Challenge, help 6 families subscribe to our services in your first 20 days from getting into business with us. And now you are earning what we call advanced compensation. We pay you for an entire year in advance on money that we have not even received yet from the customer, which should show you the cash position of our company, financially speaking, as well as what we know our retention is. It's extremely high, which is definitely two very good indicators of a business going in the right direction. Now, either way, whether you move quick or slow, on the 7th membership, everything is officially turned on to full advance compensation. So on that 7th membership, you would earn $120, and whether you met the Fast Start Challenge or not, that $120 is coming to you as an advance. Okay, and you can do sheer volume and give yourself promotions. You can, on the 15th membership, where you earn $140 per, you give yourself a raise. This is one of those opportunities that the more volume that you do is going to determine the growth of your income, but the conversation doesn't change. You see, if you're a director making $190, you're paid the same amount, or your same efforts that it took you to earn $100, you're now earning $190 on. They had to do 100 memberships to get up to that point, but that you could do that faster, you could do that slow. That really determines, what your involvement is. How much time do you have? You can have patience with this business if you need to. If you have something right now that has you on a full-time basis, it might take you a little bit longer. But the reality is that the book will not change. You own it. We have bonus levels that can go up to as high as senior director and executive director. Those are monthly qualifications, but you can touch executive director for $280 a month. Again, for the same 15-minute conversation that you earned $100 for. And so the ability to grow that book of business is immense. In addition to that, if you do take advantage of our team building concepts, we allow you to make to the senior associate level doing 3 memberships. If you're fortunate enough, one of those folks might raise their hand and say, I am interested as well of being a part of that opportunity. And as I say, sometimes you might not be interested in building a team, but you won't turn your back on it either, because people will raise their hand and ask to be a part of the business. So if that situation comes up within those first handful of memberships, one of them gets started, now you've been promoted to senior associate in half the amount of time. And then you can start earning higher amounts right away. But in addition to that, you're now in a position to earn overrides. If I'm a senior associate and I'm earning $120, and I'm fortunate enough for one of my members to say, I'd like to be a part of that business as well, I show him how to create an account and get started. He introduces his first member to the service and earns his $20. I'm sorry, his $100. And the business pays me an override of $20 because I've vested in helping him get a business off the ground, basically referred him in. So $20 might not seem like a lot of money, but what if I was a director? I was a director earning $190 on my membership, and I found that that member said, I'd also like to be a part of that business as well. He still starts as an associate, and he still earns $100 as promised. But because there is no senior manager, or senior associate between us, my override is actually $90. So you see, it doesn't matter. The compensation, the information that I know at director is more valuable to that person as a senior associate. And I'm pouring that information in to help him be able to grow his business. So people are earning overrides at all levels. Let's just take a look at a quick example of what the team building concept can do. If we spent some time finding 3 folks that are just as interested and serious as you are, and we can teach them how to duplicate the same efforts that you did, and then they're able to go out and do that again, before we know it, we have a team of 39 people, right? 3 people who got 3 more people who got 3 more people equals 39. Now, if those 39 people all went out and marketed just 1 membership per month on a part-time basis, we have an extra $17,000 a year roughly coming into somebody's household. And I want you to know that doesn't include any of your own personal production. So this is a passive income. If you include your own personal production, meaning new members that you brought on, not just from a team, you can probably move that needle another $5,000 to $10,000 in annual income just on a part-time basis. So if your family right now, if you could take an extra $30,000 in every year for your family, and you didn't have to break your back to do it, what could that do? You see, now what if they did 1 per week? Not a very unrealistic goal. Now all of a sudden we're over $70,000. And what if it took 6 months to a year to find the 39 people that would do 1 per week? Would it be worth it? There are folks in our business right now that have an organization the size of thousands. And I'll show you what that could potentially look like. This is saying 39 people do 1 per day. I'm not saying that you'll find a team of 39 people to do 1 per day, but you can certainly find a large enough group of people out there where there can be 39 new memberships that come into your organization on a daily basis. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on a millionaire's dream. I just want you to know there's a track to run on if that's something that you're after. And we've got folks that are examples in our business that can do that. 95% of people do start on a part-time basis, and they can see where it takes them from there. So, but the real goal is to be able to build a book of residual income. Everything you saw up to this point is first-year compensation. Those members stay on the books for years and years and years. And on the 13th month, every member payment that gets made, a portion of it is broken off and paid to us residually. Has somewhat to do with our retention. Members that are holding on the books. But the reality is that I'm still being paid today for memberships from the very first month when I was in the business 7.5 years ago for my very first month. So the company does not have any quotas, but we certainly want to push to be able to give people reasons to go beyond and to stretch themselves and stay consistent in their business. So we have a rewards program we call the Performance Club. Great recognition. They give us rings for achieving different income levels. There's constantly bonuses that are made available to us by way of cash payments and other credits and things of that nature. And we even have a car bonus program. If you're a part of our Performance Club, you're able to receive $500 a month towards the purchase or lease of a BMW once you're in the Performance Club for 12 months. Every single month after the 12th month, you stay in Performance Club, they send you another $500 for your BMW payment. The thing to know is that our Performance Club is designed around the part-timer. Again, we know 95% of people come into this business with a part-time mindset. And so we want to, since we know that's the bulk of the field, we want to be able to make the incentive programs and rewards achievable to those people. So just by doing 5 new memberships on a monthly basis, you're eligible for the Performance Club. Just by going out and recruiting 1 new associate to join you in the business each month and 2 other memberships, you're eligible to be in the Performance Club. Any way that you can stay into that minimum production and stay consistent, you'll be rewarded, even with an opportunity to attend Atlantis. This year is our Performance Club vacation. You and a significant other is very clearly defined rules on how to be able to participate in those vacations, but are all expenses paid, airfare and everything. And you just don't need to be the top performer to be able to qualify for things of those nature. So look, just in wrapping up, people get involved with us. Number one, it's the service itself. It has to work the way that we says does. You have to be able to kind of see where the direction of this thing is going. In addition to that, more income matters. But people also want more time back in their life. It's not just about the money. It's being able to have the flexibility and the freedom to be able to do what they want more instead of building somebody else's dream and building their own. The desire for personal growth and professional growth is with this company. You saw that in our Legal Shield Advantage program with the Franklin Covey Institute. And in addition to that, there's plenty of new associations that are made here with our business. We have a true forward-thinking business culture of like-minded people who believe all ships rise with the tide. And then one of the last thing is, look, they know that they will empower and protect others. And that matters. I told you that I wouldn't have got involved in this business if I could not put my name behind, no matter how much it was going to pay me. I needed to know that what I was doing was making a difference in the lives of the people who I was sharing this information with. And so we meet all 6 of those, and we want to invite you to be a part of our business. What we'll do at this point is ask anybody that's on the call right now, if you could just get back in touch with the person that invited you out to learn more about this opportunity. Let them know what some of your questions might be. Hopefully we covered most of that here, but they'll certainly be able to give you more of the specifics in regards to your situation, and let us help you put together a plan to be able to launch your business. Become an associate with us. Learn about our training and onboarding program. Start being paid right away. Let's help you build a team if you have some desire there. And so again, my name is Rocco Cilio, and I am here in my 8th year with Legal Shield, but I am definitely just getting started. Thank you so much.